back to Peter Ford. He's got some information, our entertainment expert has got some information. This was an Ariana Grande pop concert. Pete, you've heard something from her management?
Yes, she is apparently quite hysterical about what has happened, and she's still in Manchester. She is due to go back on stage and continue the tour on Thursday night in London. I wouldn't bank on that happening. Apart from anything else, I suspect, number one, she'll be in no emotional, mental state to perform. This would be a horrible thing for her to almost feel like she has to wear, in as much as this crowd has gathered to see her. And so you almost would have this sort of bizarre sense of guilt about it, which of course she shouldn't have, and they will work her through that. But also I can't imagine any parents allowing their kids to go to a Ariana Grande concert in the near future. Just fear would just not let you do it. And tonight, as we've said numerous times, you know, these were young kids, many of them, given their ages, probably going to their first ever concert on their own. Mum and Dad have probably said, you make sure you're on the 11 o'clock train home, because the railway station is right underneath the venue, or they may have been waiting outside for the kids to come out. But for a lot of them, it would have been their first unaccompanied outing to a concert like this. So I can't imagine many more kids going to see Ariana Grande in the immediate future. Then you've got the other issues here of the promoters and the venue operators. They are going to have to look at this very carefully over the next few days. What are their responsibilities? What are their potential liabilities? You go into concerts, even in England now, even in live theatre, and there's really no security checks. You can just walk into a theatre. It seems sometimes they very half-heartedly go through your bag, almost like they're looking for a hip flask more than anything really serious.
And also, Manchester Arena has put out a statement saying this bomb incident happened outside of the arena. The ticket offices, like where the ticket offices are at Rod Laver Arena out. So you would think they would have to start doing exclusion zones around the stadium before you even get to it.
But the exclusion zone has to begin at some point. I mean, there's going to be some point where you're not going to have security. And it would seem in this case, my guess would be that they've obviously very carefully not tried to get in there. They've deliberately done this in an area where they knew that they could.
And Pete, other artists similar to Ariana Grande are also tweeting. Mariah Carey, Pink, those sort of artists would be thinking, God, if this is the start of a tactic to target concerts, it affects the ripple effect through the entire entertainment industry.
Any performers, whether they are in big concerts like this, whether in their smaller live
let's not forget the
theatres.
Bataclan in Paris.
Exactly,
you know,
the Bataclan. So any live performer who's going out there and facing, in some cases, hundreds, in this case it was 21,000 unknown people, I mean, you would have to think, gee, can I go ahead and perform? Can I let these people escape? Which is the whole idea of going to a concert or a show.
Yeah, Bataclan was a heavy metal band in a small venue. This is an arena of a global artist.
But very close to very close to a public area, which is easily accessible. Will they start choosing their venues in a different way?
And in the case of where they have really serious security, you know, heavy metal concerts, rock concerts, often in soccer events, football events, because you know you assume there's a potential that things could get ugly in terms of the crowd itself. But in this case, you're talking about young girls. You would think it's going to be a pretty safe venue. There's not going to be too much trouble, and maybe that, in fact, is why this has happened in this particular occasion.
I'm just saying about the problem with exclusion zones is that if you continue to move it out, remember we were discussing this some time ago when there was a bomb attack at the airport, you move the exclusion zone out, so you just create another perimeter which is equally vulnerable.
Where everyone's been dropped off.
Exactly.
They'll drop them there, and that's the big drop-off zone.
That's right.
Where everyone will be gathering. That's what you said.
That's exactly the point.
I mean, this is not new. Let's go back to Bali, to the Bali bombings. There was one bomb inside the nightclub. Everyone ran out to the street. There's another bomb where this is an ages-old tactic.
It is.
Because
they're soft targets. They've given up attacking police stations or military bases. They go after the soft targets.
And what's still unclear, and not that it changes the overall outcome of the story, but it's still unclear the percentage of deaths and injury caused by the actual explosion, or indeed if this is because of the effect of the stampede of people desperate to get out.
Yeah, Pete, you're right. And looking at that vision again of those girls screaming and jumping over railings and pushing to get out, there may be some death. We'll have to wait and see as to how people
There's also a third dimension. So you've got those who are killed by the bomb, those that are killed in the stampede, and also post-traumatic stress disorder, which will haunt these people for the rest of their lives.
Absolutely.
Young kids.
Who has
Young kids.
nails in her legs.
Yeah.
My God.
And a bit earlier in the program, we spoke to Becky House, who was there in the arena with two 13-year-old girls. She joined us via Skype a bit earlier on this very point.
Yeah, what a horrible message for these young kids who, as I say, may be going to their first concert on their own, to say, you know, this is what your future holds. This is a sign of the world now.
Yeah, exactly right. And
But look, I would actually argue that it's not even people who are there. It's people in town, you know, everyone in Manchester.
Yeah, that's right.
And,
exactly.
And in Australia who think of sending their kids to a concert.